That's not my house. Oh, look, I didn't know it was going to show videos. Let's do this. Hi, everybody. This is a new program. Welcome. We're going to give it a few minutes. I changed, everybody should, well, you guys have the right info, but I had to change platforms. So mostly everybody got the right info, and I had to resend info to some people. So bear with me while I do some technical stuff. You guys are, let me see. Everybody's muted, but you can unmute yourselves if you have questions. Oh, stop video. There we go. There we go. So you guys don't need to, I mean, unless you want to come on to have your video. Most people don't want their video on, so I shut that one off. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so like I said, I'm going to give it just a minute. Let me make sure I don't have any more emails about people not getting the right info. I think it's there. All right, so actually what I am going to do, though, is, let's see, is the chat. Do you guys see the chat? Put the questions here. And if you need to jump off, like I said, this will be recorded. You can put your questions in the chat if you have them. I am going to give you guys a whole bunch of info. Let's see. All right, it's 12:03. You know what? Let's go ahead and we'll just, we'll start, and then I'm pretty sure I don't have to admit everybody else in. Yeah, people will just pop on. So thank you guys for being here. I know this was totally last minute for me to throw out this little info session. And I know it's in the middle of the workday, that kind of thing, but it will be recorded. So if you need to pop off, you can leave your questions in the chat box. This is our parent educator informational session. I'm just going to give you guys all the details, all of the rundown of the program, how long it lasts, what's included, all of that kind of stuff. And then if I don't answer your question in the course of that 15, 20 minutes that I'm going to run down the program, then you can either unmute yourself and we can chat. Hi, Jason and Wyoming Quinn, if anybody wants to say hi. Nice to see you here. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. And if you don't want to actually chat, hopefully you guys can hear me. Hello? Okay, good. You can hear me because you said hello. I was going to say, if I was talking the whole time and you guys couldn't hear me, that would be bad. But you can put your questions in the chat box if you don't want to actually come online and chat with me. So I'm going to pull up my list just so I don't miss anything. So this parent, let me just tell you a little bit about how I started this program. I kind of fell into this work after I had always worked in advocacy, and my degree is in early childhood and elementary education. So my background was in teaching, and I always had this child advocacy. I didn't really know what it was when I was in my 20s, but I always had this desire to change the way families, make happier families. I didn't come from a very happy family. And so through my own process of discovering myself and my background and why I acted the way I did, and this personal self-development that I was doing on my own, I realized that a huge part of so many of the struggles that I had came because I didn't have good relationships at home with my family, with my parents. They didn't really know how to, I came from a divorced family. I was raised by my mom and my stepfather primarily, and they didn't have a very good relationship with my biological father, and there was a lot of stress and strife growing up. And then on top of that, I didn't have good individual relationships. It seemed that nobody really knew how to have good relationships, but for some reason, I felt it more keenly than others because, I have other family members who certainly have grown into adulthood and don't feel the same kind of passion that I do for it, and sometimes don't even understand what I do. And so that's how I came into parent education in general. And I really just one day After I had my daughter, I decided I did not want to go back to film and television and like long 12, 16-hour days, which is where I'd come from. And I decided to stay home, and I reached back into my history and my passions and started online. I started a Facebook page. I think I started the website first, and it was really about changing the way we speak. I had people take a pledge that they would, speak kindly and with respect to their children. And it was just little points along the way that suddenly grew and grew into a movement and an audience and people that were like-minded and coming together. And then all of you guys. And there were so many people who felt this way out there that I found when I was able to jump online in probably sometime in like 2000 and I think 5 or 6, 7 is when I started online. And because that's when my daughter was born in 2006. But it grew and grew and grew. Here we are today, many years later. And I've created hundreds of hours of programming. And you guys are, I'm sure, familiar with my work, or you probably wouldn't be here with me today. But my YouTube channel, Facebook, all of that just grew. And it was always just about me wanting to share tools, information, education. I don't come from this place of, let's go out and tell parents how to do it and, give them rules and this is what you should do. For me, that doesn't feel authentic. For me, it has to be really about my personal passion, which was changing the way that we speak so that we could have healthy relationships and sensitive kids, highly sensitive kids. So that was something I also experienced as a highly sensitive child. And my parents weren't highly sensitive. At least my mother wasn't in many of the ways that I was. And that caused so much, strife and difficulty and misunderstanding for us and our family. And that now has become very much a part of what I do, helping parents understand their sensitive kids. 20% of the population is what's estimated are highly sensitive. And a lot of these kids, especially boys, they get labeled and they get judged for their behavior. And forgive me, I don't know where I'm supposed to be looking because I don't see any of you guys. No, look at the camera there so forgive me if I keep looking off. I kind of hide my camera. I feel like I'm talking to myself. Anyway, where was I? So boys, they especially get a lot. I just think they have a lot more stress put on them behaviorally, like these expectations in school, and not even if they're highly sensitive, but boys in general, we're not used to nurturing them as a society. It's always like, let's toughen everybody up so they can be tough for the real world and get through it. And I think that what happens is that we end up with a lot of kids that are really struggling. And they're struggling to understand their own emotions. They're struggling to understand why they're not good enough, why they can't meet these expectations. And just, it's a cycle. So for me, breaking that cycle of the misunderstanding of behavior is another part. So it's the communication and, helping us understand sensitive kids, highly sensitive kids, and behavior in general. So it can apply to all kids. But for me, my particular passion was really about helping adults understand behavior through the lens of development and also through this non-punitive lens. So there's no punishment. There's consequences, right? There's always consequences in life, but there isn't, I shouldn't have to admit everybody one by one. But there's not always, we don't have to do adult-imposed consequences to make children learn. If we, yes, they work short-term sometimes, but I'm about sustainable discipline, long-term behavioral change, and that only can result if we give kids support in 3 areas. And so my whole program is really based around this idea. It's a 3-pronged approach to behavior, and you're probably, again, familiar with it if you've been following me for any length of time, but support, stress, skills. It's the same 3 categories that my conscious communication cards are based on. And for me, it's just such a simple framework that we can view not just children's behavior, but the root cause of it, and then the first aid. How do we go and help those kids? So for me, that's the framework that everything kind of gets filtered through. Stress support skills. Stress being what's in the environment, what's on my child's mind, do they have a heavy mental load right now or a heavy emotional load because there's a lot going on at home? Are they dealing with toxic stress? Are they dealing with relationships, bullying? There's so many things that we think, oh no, you know what, they're managing because they're maybe not talking about it, but it comes out in their behavior. So when we can figure out what is stressing our kids, and maybe we can't reduce the stress, if we're moving or somebody's sick, there's a family member that's very ill, we can't take that kind of a stress away. But what we can do is then when we look at behavior, we can understand that there's a root cause here that may be affecting the child's ability to behave in the ways that we want, right? So what do we do then? We go in and help them practice skills with certain tools that we've pulled out. Instead of just saying, stop that, don't do that, we look underneath. That's what the framework does. So, and support, of course, is that relationship. How can I let this child know that I'm on their team, that I want them to succeed, and not just that I'm judging their behavior or trying to change it, but that I really want to help them understand it because I understand it. So stress support and skills is the framework that everything works through. So let me just go through, if you just joined us, and I see some familiar names there. Hi, Anjani, so nice to see you. I'm going to go through all of the details, like I said, about the particulars of the program. And then if you guys have questions that I did not cover, we can talk about them at the end. So when does the program start? First and foremost, January 2019. I haven't figured out the exact start date. It will be towards the end of the month, after the holidays are over in the new year, and all of that has settled, and we're not filled with cheese and food and decorations and holiday music and all of that stuff. Once that's all over, we will settle in for a 6-month program. So it will start in January. The classes are going to be on Tuesdays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you need to look up where that is in your part of the world, you can use New York City, just New York, as the location, and then figure out what time 1 to 2:30 p.m. is in your area. So the actual session dates that we have will be still to be announced. They're mostly weekly though. So if you're looking at your schedule and figure out, can I do this? Look at Tuesdays, 3 to 4 classes. There are some months where we only have 3 sessions. So it just depends on the month. But if you can look at pretty much the Tuesdays from January to June, you'll know whether this will fit your schedule or not. Prerequisite self-study courses. So once you sign up, you then are enrolled in my entire library of courses. And there are 2 courses that are a prerequisite. The Peaceful Solutions to Parents and Kids and my Supporting Sensitive Kids class. Those are the 2 focal points of information that you want to have going in. This basic understanding. Obviously, we're going to learn so much more going through the program, but it's really important that you have this foundation coming in and that you do the prep work coming in. So there's 2 months. The program starts in January, but from now until January, when you sign up, and registration closes November 12th. I'll talk more about that later. But so for the next month, registration will be open, and then once we close, as soon as you register, really. So if you register on Friday, you get access immediately. You have those 2 months to go through the 2 programs before we get to January and the start of the class. Now, those 2 programs, the Peaceful Solutions course, it's a long program, but it's broken up into 10 to 15 minute videos. So you can watch it. If you watch just one a day, it would take you a month, or just a month and a week or so to get through them. That's just if you did one 15-minute session a day. But you can watch, obviously, as many as you want. But they're broken down into small pieces of information that you can digest. There's lots of worksheets. That's the really important part, that you do the workbook. In Peaceful Solutions, there's a 50 56-page workbook, maybe 50 pages. Maybe the last 6 pages is reflection afterwards. So there's lots of exercises to do. And supporting sensitive kids, there may be 1 or 2 or a handful of overlap exercises that are just part of the core basics of conscious parenting. But there'll be other additional exercises in that program, and that program's a little bit shorter. I think it's 5 hours. But again, it's also broken up into very short 10, 15-minute segments. I think some of the communication segments might be like 20 minutes, but they're broken up so that you don't have to think, oh, I have to sit down and listen to a whole hour, class. When am I going to do this? It's going to feel, and then I have to do that 4 or 5 times. So it's broken up. So those 2 months. So the program begins in January 2019. How did we get to 2019 already? And then Tuesdays 1 to 2:30. And then the prerequisite self-study courses you have access to immediately. How long is the program? 6 months. So we went through that. 6 months long with 3 to 4 weekly live sessions. Now these live sessions are all held online like this. So I used to use GoToWebinar for all of my classes for the last since 2007 when I think I held my first class. I've been using GoToWebinar. I'm trying Zoom now because people say it's easier, a little more friendly for this type of environment for us. Excuse me. So it will be in something like this setup where we can share our cameras. I can share my screen with you. We have a chat box. There's all this kinds of, it'll be in this technological format. So an online classroom, virtual classroom like this. And then all of your study materials are held on my website, Classroom. So that's where you can go and watch all the videos, the recordings of whatever we have, download all of your materials, that sort of thing. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold and I don't want to cough. Forgive me. So the training is 6 months long, right? January to June. Registration, like I said, will close for, actually early bird registration closes on, early bird closes on the 31st of this month. So you save $500 on registration before early bird closing on the 31st, and then regular registration closes on November 12th. How long is each live session? So each live session, when we meet, 1 to 2:30. But I suggest, so it's 90 minutes, but I suggest putting aside at least 2 hours on our meeting days because, there's just that inevitable hellos and chatter. Sometimes we go a little bit longer at the end, and so that we can have that full experience and not feel rushed for time. I always like to tell people to block out at least 2 hours. If you can do 2.5, you might want to do 2.5 because sometimes you need to take a big, deep breath at the end of the session. And you know what I'm going to do? Hold on 1 second, guys. I just want to see if I can. There's a waiting room, and I want to turn off the waiting room because, oh, here we go. So I had to keep letting people in. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so now everybody will just join as they pop on. And hello, if you just joined and I didn't say, I was in the middle of speaking. I'm so glad to have you guys live here, so I don't have to feel like I'm talking to myself, because I know this was last minute. I was like, you know what, I got to get this info session out because everybody's been so patient with me. I did not hold this. I held this program in 2015, 2016, but not last year because I did the cards last year with the Kickstarter, and I was shipping and designing and doing all of that. So everybody who thought they were going to take it in 2017, you guys have been super patient with me. And I know that I've just been like, yes, I'm not doing it right now, but soon. So I'm really excited to get to do it again with you guys. Those are also, all of our parent educators before were in one group together on Facebook, so you have access to those guys. And I'm also going to try to do some live Facebook or just these kinds of sessions and chat with my other educators, and they can come on and answer any questions that come in after, or if you guys join us on the live Facebook, we can do it like that too. it's always nice to hear from people who actually went through the program. But I wasn't able to put that together fast enough for today. So those sessions, 90 minutes, but if you can add that buffer so that you can take that big deep breath at the end and relax. Sometimes you want to go in and do some reading after. Sometimes the sessions are really emotional because the program brings up a lot for us as parents. We have to go through our own stuff if we're ever going to be able to really help other parents go through their stuff. Of course, that depends. Lots of people do the course for many, many different reasons. And I've got those questions. A lot of you guys send in questions, so it was really helpful that I could just kind of organize it and make sure I covered everything. So can I still participate if I live in another state or another country? Of course, because it's online. So the only requirement is that you have a stable internet connection, high-speed internet, so that you can, so that the videos come through really clear and there's no drops in your service, because then you'd be missing the class, and that would not be fun. Do I have to attend the live sessions? So all the live sessions are recorded for viewing later, but the community and the connections that we make in the class and the discussion, because you do a lot of the self-study on your own. So the class is really important. So yes, there's 75% attendance in the live classes is what's required to join. So I think we have roughly 16 sessions, and I'll get those firm dates and everything lined up. But roughly there's 16 sessions. So you want to make sure. Now, obviously, there's emergencies and kids get sick, or things happen. There's storms and there's no internet. All of that, yeah, that happens. If you're joining and you're coming to the live sessions, but you miss 3 classes instead of just 2 classes, it's not the biggest of deal. But the most important thing is that you want to come and be a part of the class and connect with the other people that are there. Classes are small. I'm only one person. I can't give a series like this to like 30 people. That would be 25 people. That would just be too much. So the classes are kept small. So it's important that you show up and that you want to contribute and that you want to connect and that you are ready to come with your ideas and your thoughts and your questions and, challenging. We get a lot of people that, if you're doing this work out there, there's such the mainstream traditional punitive thought still it's everywhere, right? It's such the dominant thinking still that you need to be able to stand up for this kind of work and really believe in it. So that's why it's important to have these connections, because it's when we talk to other people and we start to understand why we believe in this work and why we do it, that's when we can really stand confidently in the face of our naysayers and say, yeah, I say no to timeouts and here's why. And we can do it calmly without getting, all upset. I know that was one of my biggest learning lessons when I first started, was because I'm so passionate. I'm such like a disruptor kind of energy that I want to go out there and just like say what we should be doing. But I had to cultivate that, and I had to understand other people, and I had to learn to listen. And so that's what the class really focuses on, especially those live sessions, which is why it's so important to be there. So if you can't make Tuesdays from January to June at that time work for you, definitely reconsider whether it's the best time right now to join the program or not. How do I attend the live session? So of course, like I said, it's a virtual program. You'll have links that will stay the same. Our meeting access, it'll just be one link that you can go ahead and log on. If you are in the US, you can also, there are dial-in numbers, but obviously long distance, depending on where you are in the world, that might not be feasible. But there are also login links to call in. So it's not necessary to have the video. It's nice if we can see you guys, if we can all see each other. And I haven't run a class where anybody has come in on audio unless there was, they were driving in the car and they couldn't make it that particular day. So coming on, having that video capability so we can connect and see each other is really important. But we do it just like this. They're held in our online conference. Now, there are sometimes where we'll have special calls, so that there'll be dial-in numbers. There are international numbers. There's numbers to Canada. So wherever you are in the world, you can attend the live sessions and participate. What if I miss a session? I think we covered that, right? Delays happen. Things come up unexpectedly. So on a case-by-case basis, it's not, a big deal. Just make sure before you enroll in the program that you've looked at the dates beforehand. But if you miss a session, just let us know beforehand. That's always really helpful so that we know, go ahead and start and we're not waiting. But the recordings of the classes and the audio MP3s are all there for you. Will I automatically be certified at the end of the program? So certification is granted on an individual basis, and then just really depends on you completing the entire program, doing the 8 hours of practicum work where you're working with actual families, or you're giving presentations, or you're speaking, depending on what your area of specialty is. And of course, you want to have a proficient knowledge and understanding of the curriculum, of the basics. And we have interviews, personal one-on-one interviews. I'm not interviewing you for anything, calls where I connect to support you in figuring out where you're going next. And so what certification does is, one, it gives you the ability to use the name. So Teach Through Love Certified Parent Educator. If you don't complete all the certification requirements, you can deliver the program. You can still use the materials. You're paying for the training and you're getting the materials, but you can't advertise with the name. Certification means that you have the most updated materials, so that and I've updated the materials so many times just in the last few years. So certification says I have the most current materials from Teach Through Love. I've gone through and completed all of the required courses and again, the practicum work. That's what that offers you. But you can use the materials outside of the certification just by going through the training and purchasing the course with me. Oh, and certification also enables you continued access on the website. So once we complete the program after a year, or actually your certification once you complete it is good for 2 years as well. So you stay on the website, you stay connected. Again, all the materials that we have in the program are yours. You'll get them, you'll download them. But the other courses, the prerequisite courses, any additional courses, you have access to my entire library. So that stays as long as you have certification. Once our program ends, if you don't do the certification portion of it, then you're on the website for a year, and then after that, you can renew the certification if you want to. But you won't have access to the updated materials, which is also why you can't use the name then to advertise the materials. Obviously, when you're giving the program, you say where it's from, and you can use the name on your materials as in this is what this is, but you just can't advertise the name as a Teach Through Love program. And some people don't want to do that because some people are just using this within their existing business with their clients. I have occupational therapist that started doing the work because it was so valuable. It was a valuable addition to the work that she was doing now. So she's not someone that's out there advertising classes. She's actually just using it within her own practice that she already had. So that's where you can see that there's different ways that you can use the program and the certification. But use the program. Speaking of that, how can I use the curriculum? So the curriculum allows you to present the 8 principles of conscious parenting as a complete 8-week trauma-informed parenting course. So you could go out there and deliver that course to family service agencies, to schools, your own online classes, and you can deliver the lessons in the order that they are that they're given to you in the curriculum book. And there's over 60 different activity handouts to choose from, and there's also presentation slides. So you can give a whole delivery of the whole program just as it is, or you can break it up. You can choose key topics to create a program or a one-night talk, an hour talk just on one specific topic, using the slides, using the worksheets, to just then, depending on the needs of your audience and your client, whoever you're working for. So you can present workshops of varying lengths, or you can present it as one whole key 8-week course. And the key thing about this course is that it's a trauma-informed course. So that means that there's trauma-sensitive understanding of behavior and development within the course. And so when you're looking at going into maybe a school that's in a disadvantaged area, poverty by its very nature creates the experience of trauma for a lot of children. Now that trauma may be buffered by really strong, supportive, awesome parents that they have. And if they're not, they're going to have, like I said, excuse me, I have a cold, and the more I talk, the more I'm getting a little bit stuffy. But those kids are going to have behavior challenges that are more intense. You'll be equipped to go in there and provide parents, professionals. You can also do professional development training. So be able to go in and provide those people with an understanding of behaviors through this trauma-informed lens. So what can I do as a certified parent educator? What kind of work can I do? Of course, this depends on your particular passion, right? And your skill set. Do you want to start a private one-on-one coaching business? Do you want to deliver keynote speeches and go out on the speaking circuit? Do you want to go into the Department of Family and Children's Services and start presenting there, or in your school district's educational unit where they do professional development for teachers? Go right into your community, into moms groups, give talks at preschools, go online and do this work, advocate, create a Facebook page, start an audience, and an email list. There's so many different avenues that you can follow. It really just depends on you. And I've had educators follow so many different avenues. I have a parent educator in Africa, in Namibia, I think that's how you say that. And she started out working, she really wanted to affect policy change, because she's from an area that has such deep-rooted trauma and suffering and abuse, and they're not aware of it. And so she really wanted to go in and start in her local government and do it that way. She's sort of veered into this path where she's working very closely with children and families now. She's sort of moved out of that sector, excuse me, and into working directly with families. Coughing, excuse me. I've never done it. Talk right after being sick, and it's sorry to catch up with me. So these are just a few of the examples and the many ways that you guys can work within your community to deliver workshops, to excuse me, coach parents one-on-one, that kind of thing. And just so you know, all of these questions that you guys sent in and others that I have, I've created a list, frequently asked questions. So anything that I'm saying here is going to be on the list, and I'll post it. I'll connect it to the page. So if you missed something and you don't feel like listening to the whole video again, it's all written out for us, which is great. If I can calm my throat, it'll be even better. All right, how will I find work? Will you help me? This was a big question. Okay, so I can't provide you direct one-on-one job help, support, finding. That's not something that I can do. However, like I said, everybody's going to have different strengths and preferences depending on how they move forward with the program. What I do offer, though, is continued support. We have a strong network of parent educators and other colleagues and family to also be part of our online family if you're not already in the group because you've taken a class with me before, our family forum group. So there's places for you to connect with other parents, and my educators have made so many different connections with parents there. And I don't see private clients, so there's a lot of opportunity for you to connect with parents and offer your services. I do not work, I used to, but I do not work one-on-one, excuse me, with families now, unless I've worked with them before. Just because for me, that's not where my passion is, not in the one-on-one coaching. I'm really about creating the content, and I love, teaching in these kinds of groups. But the one-on-one, that's more for me, that feels more like a counselor. And I'm not the counselor, I'm more the advocate teacher. And so somebody who's more a counselor healer is going to do better in that one-on-one coaching, excuse me, support kind of way. So there's tons of opportunities for you to find clients in people that are already, even looking for this kind of work just within our group, because I don't see private clients. So I'm always referring people. So I can't directly help you find work, but I'm there. I also have another parent educator, Carrie, she's in Washington. So I have parent educators in Washington, California, Carrie's in Oregon. There's somebody else in Washington, Africa, England. So we're all over the United States. So you may connect with someone locally if you're in those areas. But we all maintain our connection to each other. And so I was just helping Carrie. She's been going into different DHS, and she was a foster parent. That's how she started. And so she wanted to then be able to spread this work and teach other parents and really get it out there in her community. So I've been assisting her and sending her marketing materials that I have and things just to help her go on down that path. So that's how I can support, because that's what I love to do. Like, I love to help you create content that will help you, share this knowledge with other people. So if I can help you in any of those ways, definitely. But it can't have coffee and go through the lunch ads, even though that would be fun sometimes, right? So that, no personal job assistance, but definitely lots and lots of support in that area. Some of the ways, I think we talked about some of this, but some of the ways that parent educators are using the curriculum now: one-on-one group coaching, conference university speaking. I have one educator, she opened a preschool in Arizona, and she's the first and only Teach Through Love preschool that was opened based on this work and this curriculum. And she's been giving the classes to her parents for, she was one of my first, probably 8 years now. And she actually has, so this is another way that you guys can work the program. She doesn't, Emily, she's in Arizona. She started the school. She doesn't always have the time to give the 8-week lesson. But what she does is her parents sign up to the program online, and then she hosts the Q&A sessions and support sessions. So they get together after each lesson and talk about it weekly, but they access the content online. So there are ways to be an affiliate, and you can actually have people sign up and listen to the work online, and you facilitate the coaching sessions or the Q&As or the support sessions, whatever it's going to be, depending again on what you guys like to do. That's another way to sort of implement, where maybe you don't feel comfortable right away even giving an 8-week course, but you have a lot of clients or you have a lot of people that are interested. That's one way to do it. You can facilitate, you can actually stream it for clients. There's an opportunity to do that, or you can have clients purchase the course on their own, and then you facilitate the sessions, or the learning sessions, or the conversation after they do the actual lesson content. So there's also people doing sales and marketing of the cards. Everybody gets the cards. I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with cards. But some people are doing sales and marketing. So they're just going in, they decide, I don't want to teach, but I want to promote the program and give she gives like a lunch. I think she calls it a lunch and brunch. I forget what it's called, but it's basically like a lunch meeting where she goes in, talks about the topics, and then we'll either sell the classes individually or sell them to the agency purchasing a license. So she's kind of become a salesperson at that point. everybody evolves in their own different ways and takes the course, takes the program for different reasons. So those are just some of the ways that you guys can do that. So is the course for parents or professionals? It's for anybody that has a passion for sharing the tools and a desire to go out there in the world and connect with people. If you are not somebody that wants to, that's really the thing, right? It's for parents and professionals. I've had both take the course. I've had parents that were in my classes decide to become parent educators, which is always kind of cool. It's like you become so passionate about the information, you want to start sharing it with all your friends, but they don't really want to listen to you. So you're like, okay, let me do this as a professional basis and really get people on board. So the course is really just for anybody who has a passion for doing the work and who wants to build a community of parents who are parenting without punitive discipline. And we need that support too. So that's the important thing. The community piece is so important, not just for us, but for when you're out there doing the work, because parents, it's hard to parent without punishment, or it's hard to just listen to your 6-year-old emotions when everybody else is just saying suck it up and you're kind of the outlier. So those parents, they need support, and people like us that can go and create those communities and lead people in connecting and finding each other. That's a really great thing, and that's what this course is really about as well. So what are the prerequisites? I think I told you guys. Peaceful Solutions and the Supporting Sensitive Kids class, that's required before the start of our January classes. And your registration includes access to that. Now, if you've already taken those classes with me, there is a discount. So it'll be discounted off of your registration price. If you've taken, it's either, and this is actually on the bottom of the website, a combination of the list of courses, any two of the lists that's posted, or the Peaceful Solutions course, then you'll have a $400 discount off of your enrollment price. And that's also, it's $400 off the early bird price too. So it's not just off the full price, it's off the early bird. So with that, you would save like almost $1,000, $900 if you've already taken the course before. So what's included in the curriculum course materials? So in the program materials, you have a PDF of the curriculum, the 8 principles. You have digital workbook, you have presentation slides, the cards, access to all my online classes. There's also access to the Q&A archive. So this is a catalog list of Q&A calls, our support calls. I used to hold monthly support calls when I was running classes every month online. We have monthly support calls twice a month. I don't do that right now, but we have, you have access to all the recordings, and it's a searchable database. Again, if you're taking a class, you're familiar with this, but for anybody who hasn't, you can just type in, hitting, and you can click find on your website page, and it'll find you all of the calls that talk about children hitting, and it's timestamped. So you can actually just go right to that question, which is a really great resource when you're trying to, not only just for us as parents, but also for when you're, if you're connecting with a parent, if you're doing your practicum hours, or you're just already working with parents in some capacity, and this is an additional certification that you're getting. That's a great resource. It's like, what do I say? Because sometimes even I go there. It's like, I've said the same thing over and over. I need something new, fresh. What am I trying to say to this parent? And so I go look it up, a few keywords, and re-listen to myself. Or sometimes there's other parent educators or other parents sharing advice on these calls. So it's a great resource to go if you're looking for questions and fresh answers to questions that pop up. When can I start accessing the curriculum content? So you'll receive immediate access to the prerequisite courses as soon as you sign up, and the Q&A archive. And the curriculum materials will be available in January, right before the start of the January sessions. So what is certification for, and does it expire? I think we talked about the certification a whole bunch. Valid for 2 years. And again, it authorizes you to use the name when marketing your courses. And renewal after 2 years is offered for $129 a year. And again, that fee covers the cost of any updated materials, additional courses or website resources that have been added, because you stay a member of the resource after that initial certification period. And now sometimes this, I've also waived it in the past for people for specific reasons, whether they were working, there's many different reasons. So again, certification is not necessary, but to keep access to the website and those things after that first 2 years, it's a $129 fee for the licensing of the material, the certification to continue. Again, can I still use the materials if I don't renew? Yes, can. What is the cost of the program? So the early bird fee is $49.99. And then so you save $500 if you enroll before November 1st. So by October 31st, and then after that, it's $5,500. There are payment plans. Also, I told you guys that for returning students, anybody who's taken those classes, there's a $400 discount as well. And then the payment plans, yes, you can save. Now you save $300 if you pay your tuition all at once. But if you want to get on a payment plan, there is a 3-month payment plan. Actually, I can pull up the prices. It's posted on the website now, so you can actually see the pricing broken down. But the 3-month payment plan is 3 equal. Here, stuck with my glasses. Is 3 equal monthly installments. So $49.99 divided by 3. That's how the 3-month payment plan. The 6-month payment plan is $1,500 down, and then the balance is 5 equal monthly installments after that. So those are the 2 payment plans. Scholarships. There are no scholarships for the 2019 program left at this point. So that, but if you are interested in the scholarships, that's something, just let me know and I'll put you on the list for that as well. I think I covered all my questions. I did. How about you guys? Is there anything that I have not covered for you, or that you're curious about, or you just want to say hello, hi about? I invite you to do that. Now you guys can unmute yourself if you want to chat, or you can pop it in the chat box. I put the app, so some of you guys have already filled out the application because, like I said, you've been following me for a while and we've talked about this before. So if I have your application and you know that you're ready to sign up, you can go ahead. The registration is open. We've launched, so you can sign up right on the website. If not, if you haven't, I'll attach the application to this recording when I send it out, and wherever I post it, I'll attach it. And I will also, but it's also on the website. So if you sign up, although if you're already a member of the group, you might not be able to access it. I'll make sure it's on the website as well. But if you have questions about that, you can always just email me. I used to do lots of one-on-one sort of, connections about the program. I don't have, if you want to connect one-on-one, I definitely would love to talk to you. And if you have questions, just email me about that. I'm not doing that for every individual person. I did it one year and I talked to a lot of people and it was great, but it was a little overwhelming for this purpose. So, but if you have questions and you need to connect on a call or a meeting like this, absolutely available to do that for you if something comes up afterwards. I don't see any questions from you guys, so I'm not gonna hold you here. That's the program. It's 6 months where we're gonna connect weekly and talk about how we can, transform the world, how we can get out there and help parents, support parents and teachers. There's so many good teachers out there that are feeling overwhelmed in the classroom because they either don't have a lot of support or they have We're just living in outdated ideas about what kids need. And it's not for anything other than nobody said, here's a new way, here's something different that really helps create long-term sustainable change for our kids. So they just need a nudge, and for some teachers, it's like or parents even, it's like a light bulb. As soon as we give them the perspective shift. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to outline the 8 principles. The very first principle that we work on is transformation. It's this perspective shift. How do we wrap our brains around doing things differently, around not just punishing behavior, but really going in to figure out what behavior is about? There's some parents that as soon as you show them that shift, it's like they knew it all along. It's like we unlock our intuitive wisdom about what it means to be in a relationship with a child, and suddenly we're free then. It doesn't mean we're always good at it or that it's easy, because then we help. That second piece is helping us deal with our own stuff. There's a lot of that goes into the class. I think I mentioned that at the very beginning, is healing our own history. And even if we had really happy childhoods and we have a good relationship with our parents, there's still stuff there. There's stuff from peers or from our educational experiences or from jobs. Even in the recent past, there's stuff. Like, we all have baggage that we have to kind of go through. That's what we'll do in these classes. There's a lot of healing that takes place. There's been a lot of laughter and a lot of tears and a lot of love and really, really awesome connections. But it's definitely a personal journey. So that's something else to consider. I had a mom who was going to start the program, and she had just had a baby. And she signed up and she was like, I'm going to do this. She was several times over mama. So she was like, this is nothing. This is just one more little, But the emotional toll that having a new baby takes on a family, especially a woman, was something that, even though she had been familiar with it, she didn't realize that she wasn't quite ready to step into dealing with all that stuff with a newborn at the same time. So there's definitely lots to consider when you think about, am I ready? Do I want to sign up for this program? Is this right for me? Think about your life for the next 6 months and what that's going to look like, and where you can, fit this in if it feels like something you want to follow. Somebody asked me, and I didn't put this on the frequently asked questions, but somebody had a question about, what makes this program unique, or why should I sign up for this program, which is totally valid. There are a lot of programs out there to choose from. For me, there aren't any other programs out there that are going to give you the perspective of I do this work because I know what it felt like to be a kid that was really misunderstood, and a kid that didn't know how to connect with their parents. And a few of my educators that I've worked with, they come from that perspective too. So I think that's why they even gravitated towards me in the first place. I don't come to this work as an academic, as a doctor with all of these academic credentials. It's not that the work isn't academic. It's not that the work is any less valid, but I come to it with a very personal approach, because I want to connect and I want to help adults understand their kids. Because I know what it feels like to be that misunderstood kid, and I know how emotionally draining that can be on parents, but also on kids, and what it means for the future and their ability to step out with confidence, and what it means for them to be able to make decisions, and what it means for them to be able to be independent and not codependent, and not go out there seeking other relationships or other people or a job or money or all these things to fill them up. And so my work takes us through that personal piece that I talked about. I can think of maybe 2 or 3 out of the many, many programs out there that will give you that piece, that healing parent piece. A lot of them don't. I have some PCI coaches, if you're familiar with that program. I have one woman that took my Peaceful Solutions course, And she's like, this, and she's a parent educator, but she took that course because she was trying to figure out what was missing. Because the PCI, I think, gives you a lot of tools, it gives you a lot of training. And she told me what was missing was the personal investigation. And this was a woman who I remember when we did one of our first exercises, we had to like come and get in touch with our feelings. And she was like, I feel nothing. And that was the breakthrough moment for her, when she suddenly realized that she'd been going through life not feeling her feelings and numbing her feelings. And she had never even considered looking at her past history or her childhood or how she was raised or treated by adults when she was growing up. So that's a piece that's also different from a lot of the programs that are already out there. But again, for me, it's this, I'm going to help you understand what it feels like to be that kid and that parent. If you don't already know, many of us already know what it feels like to be that parent who doesn't understand the kid. But I really give that perspective, which for me is so needed, because we come in with all these great parenting ideas and we're like, yes, I feel empowered as a parent, I'm confident. But it's all about us sometimes. It's all about, well, what have I learned? This is the tool I've learned, and I'm aware of myself, but nobody really looks deeply at what that child is experiencing. Because we think, oh, I'm getting love and I'm getting support, I'm getting limits, and nobody realizes that that kid's not getting any of it because the disconnection's already been built up. We miss that. Parents miss that. They're so well-intentioned. I myself, I'm so well-intentioned with my own kid, and I still miss stuff sometimes, So that's it, guys. That's the program. That's mostly what I can think of to tell you about it. I'm so excited to start it again. I would love to have you. Again, like I said, if you have questions, it doesn't look like anybody has questions. Last call for questions. Pop them in the chat or just unmute yourself. But if you have questions that come up after today, after we hang up, send them in, email me. Or if you'd like to connect personally on a call, if you have questions about, joining that are personal that you maybe don't want to share here, if they're private, go ahead and just email me or let me know. We'll set something up. You're welcome, Jason. I'm glad it was helpful to you. Thank you so much for, again, taking the time out of the middle of your day, you guys. I know we're all busy. So thank you so much. Like I said, I'm going to connect with some of our past educators, try to jump on Facebook Live, answer questions over there, just say hi. They can tell you a little bit about their experience in the program. Tuition, Anji, is $40. It's so early bird, and this is on the website, you guys. And I'm going to put this back up too. $49.99 is the early bird. So before October 31st, you save $500. I think you've taken some of my courses though, Anjani. So there's also, you're in my Peaceful Solutions course, I think. So I think you are. So with the certain courses, there's another $400 off of that. So early bird price with the a returning student discount would be $44.99. So bad at math, but I'm pretty sure that's it, right? $45.99. See, terrible at math. No, 40. Yeah, 45. $45.99. That would be the total tuition for the returning student discount and the early bird. $5,500 after the 31st. You still get the discount for the returning student though, if you are that. So all posted on the website. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the frequently asked questions list gets up, so that if you missed anything here or if you don't feel like running back through, we will we'll get to it. All right, you guys. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all soon. I hope to connect, and I would love to have you in the program. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. You're welcome.